Poets say love is gonna save us. But most of the time I don't feel like I'm worth saving. Just a dumb, screwed up kid. But you gave me hope. You spoke into my darkness, and you showed me the light. And in your glow, I'm seeing for the first time there's still fruit on the vine. There's a fire burning in my chest, helping me to see the truth. In spite of all my anxious fears, this love has made me resolute. You keep it burning. Whoa, you keep it burning. And nothing's gonna change that. I live in fear of showing who I really am and falling apart. But like a spy, you slip past my defenses, and you found me out. Piece by piece, you're taking off this armor. I don't need it now. There's a fire burning in my chest, and you're the one that put it there. It wasn't lit by anyone else, 'cause no one has loved me with that much care. You keep it burning. Whoa, you keep it burning. There's a fire burning in my chest, helping me to see the truth. In spite of all my anxious fears, this love has made me resolute. You keep it burning. Whoa, you keep it burning. Whoa.
Matt Litzinger here with us live in studio. So I love, by the way, thank you for bringing us, and I'm going to, for people watching online, I'm going to hold up the CD. There we go. This CD you brought us, Keep It Burning, and that was the title track, of course, that we opened the show with.
Yep.
Where did you record this?
So yeah, one of the cool things about this project, I recorded it at my home studio. I really enjoy the process of like watching the songs evolve. And
Yeah.
sometimes studio time doesn't really like work well with that because you're kind of locked in, you've got these hours or these days.
Right.
And so these songs have kind of evolved over the past 6-9 months as I've worked on different demos for them leading up to it. And working at home just helps to make that a little easier.
Yeah, it's cool to have that freedom and flexibility to do it
Yeah.
that way. Have you always recorded that way, or have you ever?
I have, yeah. Mostly
yeah.
just out of necessity. With this project, I did raise money on Kickstarter to help fund it.
Yeah.
And so I thought about like, do I want to get studio time involved with that? And I really like the process of, the wearing the different hats all the way down the process. So like
Yeah.
writing the songs, engineering it, mixing it all the way through. So.
That's an advantage too, that you enjoy doing all that part, because a lot of musicians don't like doing that part.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. My brain, you have to kind of turn off the right side, left side thing, but
Right.
I like to eventually turn that off and move into more of the engineering, make it sound good side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Is this the first full length album that you've released?
This is, yeah. So that's a big one for me. It's been like EPs and singles up until this point.
What made you decide to do a full length? Did it just seem like time, or?
Yeah, time would be the easiest way to say it. So I've had 2 kids over the past like 6-8 years, and so it's been just bandwidth has been okay. We can do a single, we can do a little project here or there, but some of those songs have stacked up, and I'm happy with a lot of those. So I sat down in February, wrote a couple more songs that I was happy with, and then I had a collection of them, and I was like, it just makes sense
Sure.
if I can carve out time this year to work on a whole project.
And who else is on the album with you, or is it all you?
So this is all me, except for on Gather Me Up, my wife plays violin, which
cool.
was a big thing because she's a really great violinist, but hardly plays, so it takes a lot of convincing. So
yeah.
it was great to get her on that track.
Yeah, excellent. Do you play out a lot? Do you do a lot of live shows?
I do, yeah. So not anything like ticketed, but I play bars and stuff around town quite a bit.
Yeah. The great thing about what you do, just you and a guitar, is obviously that opens up a lot of opportunities for where you can play, and so so someone in your position, you've always got options as far as venues and so forth. Whereas like in the third hour today, we have Vigil coming in. I don't know if you know them, but they're loud and they're heavy, and
Yep.
so of course for someone in their position, they've only got so many options as far as venues, but you can probably play anywhere. And I bet you've played some interesting places.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, in town, like I'm thinking small rooms where it's just like, you're kind of in a corner, or,
Right.
to bigger venues. But yeah, I've played everything from like kind of college level arena areas down all the way down to like small bar gigs.
Yeah.
So,
Have you do you stick to New England, or have you gotten out of?
Yeah, and just mostly southern New Hampshire right now. So
Really,
I'm
yeah.
originally from Pennsylvania, went to school in Indiana, and then have lived here for the past like 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, southern New Hampshire, mostly Manchester. I play some out towards the seacoast a little bit. Like when Sawbelly was out there, I'd go out and play out that way. So,
Yeah. What brought you to New Hampshire?
My wife, yeah. So
Okay.
she's from Chester. We met in school.
Oh, in
and then
Indiana?
Came
Yeah.
back here. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm dying to hear you play live. You want to play something for us?
Sure, yeah. So I'll start out. This first song is called Restless Wings. This is a song about, I tend to be kind of a homebody. And so this song is about watching somebody who you love need to go off and like travel the world, Some people really enjoy that. And trying to come to grips with the fact that like they still love you when they're out there, even though like you don't hear from them as often. And so this song just kind of reflects some of those ideas.
All right. Very good. Matt Litzinger live in studio with us.
Again, saying our goodbyes, and in an hour you'll be far above the clouds. I'll be looking up at the stars tonight and wondering how long till you come back around. And it's a mystery to a man like me how you set your sights on distant shores. Each time you return, I see your fires burn, and it's not long before you're calling out for more. Your restless wings get lighter looking at the sky, 'cause when you roam, that's when you're most alive. Grounded heart, it wishes you could stay. I wondered do you miss me when you fly away? And as I wait for you to return to me, I wonder if you feel the pull of my heart on yours. And as I lie in bed, my thoughts are a mess. I dream you're walking back through my door. My restless wings get lighter, looking at the sky. 'Cause when you roam, that's when you're most alive. My grounded heart, it wishes you could stay. I wonder, do you miss me when you fly away? Well, I'm not asking you to stay with me here. I just wanna know this love's still real when you're out there. Your restless wings get lighter, looking at the sky. 'Cause when you roam, that's when you're most alive. Grounded heart, it wishes you could stay. I wonder, do you miss me when you fly away?
Beautiful.
That was gorgeous.
Oh, thanks so much.
Oh, that was gorgeous.
If you are,
You're getting love in the chat room already.
All right.
Loving this song. Can't wait to hear more, says Jay.
excellent, excellent. Yes, if you are just joining us, we have Matt Litzinger with us live in studio this morning. Oh yeah, Jay Bello, of course, from the band Chasing the Devil, and they're doing some big things. So very proud of them. We've played a bunch of their music on the show, absolutely. And Jay's always been very supportive of the show too, so we appreciate that. But yes, Matt Litzinger is here with us in studio, and is that? I assume that song is on the album.
It's
or
on there, yeah.
It is, yeah. Excellent, excellent. Do you play when you play out? Do you do long shows? You probably know a lot of songs. I assume you can do like 3-hour shows.
Yeah, 3 hours is kind of my 4 hours is now my max, but 3
Is
hours
it? Yeah.
is kind of standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played a couple farmers market gigs that were 4 hours.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
It's kind of like so I run too, and so it's kind of like that where you start out and you're like, I don't know if I could ever do 3 miles, and then
Yeah.
like you do that and you're like, I don't know if I could ever do 6. That sounds crazy. And I feel like playing gigs is kind of the same. You're like, the first 3-hour gig sucks, and then like you play a bunch more and you're like, oh, this is doable, and then you play a 4-hour one and you're like, that's not that much different than 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you find that running helps you with your singing in terms of your breath and?
Yeah, I've never really actually thought about that part of it, but I'm sure it does. Like just
Yeah.
like that, the fitness element of it helps too. And like some level of physical fitness. I broke a rib a long time ago, and so
Oh,
like my
no.
lung capacity isn't what it used to be.
Really?
So
Yeah.
hopefully that helps keep that up a little bit.
Yeah.
The big thing with running is like it's just an idea generator, because like similar to being in the shower,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of my ideas hit me on a run for a song or for like a part that I'm just stuck on. So,
Yeah. You know, you get the blood pumping and, you know, that goes to your brain.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it gets those neurons firing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you play, you must play some covers too, I would imagine, because
yeah.
you don't have enough music to fill.
Yeah, it's
4
always hard
hours,
to
yeah.
find a balance. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause, like,
yeah.
you know, you got to figure out what hat you're wearing. So like if you're in a listening room, you want to play a lot of your stuff. People are there to sit and listen to you.
Right.
If you're in a bar or a restaurant, like people want to be entertained, and so some of the time that's just like, oh, they want to hear a song that they're like, oh, that's a cool, interesting version of that song I know. Like I know this one, so
Yeah.
try to mix it up.
You've got a great voice. Are you, did you take any kind of lessons? Are you self-taught?
Mostly self-taught. I took
Yeah.
some voice lessons from this Ukrainian guy when I was in high school for about probably like 6 months or so.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So very formal. I'm not even sure if I consciously do anything that I was trained to do. But
Right. Well, but I'm sure subconsciously
I'm
you do.
sure, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And what about guitar?
Guitar is all self-taught. Yeah.
Okay.
So my kind of music journey with instrumentation is I started playing piano for 9 years.
Yeah.
Hated it, but like my parents made me stick with it.
Yeah.
I picked up drums on my own. Loved playing drums. Started to learn to play by music, and then picked up guitar and bass on my own after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somehow in that transition from piano to drums, I just took it and made it my own. And I was just like, I love this. Like I love playing. So like, I want to figure out how to play more stuff.
Do you think learning the piano helped you to learn other instruments more quickly? Because something I hear a lot of people say, so I'm a musician myself, I'm a bass player, but I never learned, I would kind of noodle around a little bit on the keyboard when I was a kid, but I never really learned to play. But I've heard a lot of music instructors say that everybody should, no matter what instrument they play, everybody should start out on the keyboard, some sort of keyboard, because that's such a great way to kind of build your, a lot of things in terms of, making sure you have a good ear, and also just, it's a good building block for whatever instrument you're going to play. So I'm curious in your case, because you didn't like it, the piano, but you did it for 9 years. So I assume having done that, learning other instruments probably came pretty quickly to you.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple things wrapped up in that for me. It's like the piano has a higher learning curve than some instruments. Like you can sit and figure out a chord shape on a guitar super easy, but sometimes with the piano, if you want something more than just one note melodies that you're learning from some book, it can be difficult to feel like you're making momentum with that.
Yeah.
But things like chord structure and even just visualizing the way the notes work on a keyboard's like the best way to conceptualize that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of things that I now lean on with chord structure, I learned from piano and now transferred to different instruments.
That makes sense. Yeah, I wish that I had done that. I always had a keyboard too. I just never.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I was kind of a lazy kid though too. I was one of those kids. If I wasn't good at something right away, I would just kind of give up on it. What's that?
You stink. I wanted to learn how to play piano so bad.
Yeah.
I put my kid in it, and he hated it. And I, not being your parents, went, okay.
Yeah.
So I always said I wasn't going to force him because I wanted him to do music because he wanted to. And he's a self-taught guitarist.
Yeah.
But I kind of wish I had made him do it because I know that he would have been able to read music and stuff if I had made him. So I don't know. Kind of on the fence on that one.
And I wish there was a better way to like tell kids you don't have to stick with piano. Like just stick with this for now.
Right.
Because they look at, people shredding on guitar or like killing the drums.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, man, I want to do that. And it's like, yeah, you can do that, but start here because like you'll be so much better at that thing when you get there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean too. Like it's like if you pick up a guitar and you just, if you learn power chords, you can go join a punk band pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Doesn't take much.
In my case, the reason I ended up playing bass was, so I started on guitar and I took guitar lessons for a couple of years, but again, I would get frustrated. I would get impatient with myself. And then in high school, I picked up a bass, and I know other bass players hate when I say this, but it's just the truth. I picked up a bass and I was like, oh, 2 fewer strings and I don't have to know any chords.
Yeah.
I think I can do this. And then I ended up, I went on to play in a bunch of bands playing bass because, but I do think in my case though, learning some things on guitar to the limited extent that I did helped make me a better bass player.
Yeah.
Even though the way that I got to playing bass was, again, my own laziness kind of came into play.
Yeah. And although I think people like to crap on bass players a lot, but in my experience, the bass players I've played with, sometimes their musical knowledge like blows me away.
Oh yeah.
Because for being a simple instrument, so to speak, with only having 4 strings, like their conceptualization of chords and like what changes and like what note they're playing in the root and stuff, I'm just like, dang, like they know more than I do about this stuff for sure.
We have Aaron Bilodeau coming in second hour. I don't know if you know Aaron, but he's a bass player and he's amazing. Like I watch his fingers and it's like, oh my God, what he can do with that bass, But I never got that far with it. But like you said, on your album, so you play everything except you mentioned your wife plays violin, but you do everything else.
Yeah. And I kept it pretty simple. Like I wanted to go for kind of an alt country, kind of like Zach Bryan-y kind of sounds to it. And so it's guitar, bass, drums, a little bit of mandolin on a couple songs.
Okay.
But outside of that, that's really it for instrumentation.
Is the mandolin, did you find that difficult to learn or?
So I don't play it super well.
Yeah.
Like, I play like just chords on it. So it's easy to figure out like, okay, what's the chord shape for this chord, and then kind of do little chunking chords on it. I don't do a whole lot of melody work on the mandolin.
Okay. Yeah.
It is hard with big fingers, which is funny because you look at the best mandolin players and you're like, these guys have giant, fingers, and how do they play this thing?
That's the thing. That's one of the things that makes me so curious about it, because some of these instruments, like the mandolin, I've always wondered about that. It looks like it's difficult to, it's hard enough when you're learning to play guitar, to make sure that your fingers are going in the right places. And then on something like the mandolin, yeah, you're right. Like if you have big fingers, how do you do that and be able to really, not be sloppy with it. So it's very impressive to me. Do you want to play another live one for us?
Sure.
Dying to hear more.
Sure. Yeah. So the next one I have is, so this is one of the songs I mentioned. I wrote some songs in February. There's this thing called FAUM, which is February album writing month. It's like a challenge where you try to write 14 songs in the month of February.
It sounds like kind of like the RPM challenge.
It's very much like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Except I think the end goal is not to have like a produced thing at the end of it. It's just like you have a collection of songs and you can do whatever with them. It's not like a cohesive album.
Oh, cool.
But it's one of the songs that came out of that. There was a news story right around that time, I think from the Washington Post, about scientists had measured that the moon is starting to shrink. And so I was like, man, this is like the perfect jumping off point for a song.
Yeah.
So I tried to dream up this world of like, okay, if the moon's shrinking, what's that mean for like our tide patterns on the earth? Like, what's that look like if I draw that out to this post-apocalyptic picture?
Yeah.
And then I tried to turn that into a love song of like, what's it look like for love to sustain something as tragic and difficult as like the world coming to an end? So there's a song called Moonquakes that's about that just stemmed from that story.
Interesting. All right.
Totally fictitious.
Matt Litzinger live in studio with us. I'm looking forward to this one. This one sounds pretty interesting. Although worrisome in one sense. So we have climate change to worry about. Now we got to worry about the moon shrinking too.
Yeah. Hopefully it's a very slow process.
I would assume. Matt Litzinger live in studio.
The moon is shrinking, that's what the experts say. It's getting smaller every single day. Don't be alarmed, that's what the man on TV says. It feels like everything is hanging by a thread. Last night I was far above the ground, and I could see for miles and miles around. And when the lights went out, I felt the darkness rise. This might be the end, but I'm finding hope in your green eyes. And if the ground beneath our feet should break, won't lead you astray. And if the seas should overrun their bounds, I'll hold back the wake, 'cause the weight of this love is more than this world could bear. The weight of this love is more than this world could bear.
Wow.
Oh, let me get that mic on, Jenny. Sorry.
You do that to me every Saturday. He does.
Yes.
He turns me down on purpose.
I do. No, that is great. That is great. Matt Litzinger here with us live in studio. Ryan LeMay is in the, I see in the chat room, says, well done. Ryan is a very, obviously, I'm sure you know Ryan. He's a very, very talented musician.
I do not know Ryan.
Oh, you don't know
Thank
Ryan?
You, Ryan.
Oh, okay. You'll probably meet at some point. Also, Eric Manarone, if I'm saying that correctly, says hi all. Hello, Eric, in the chat room. If you are just joining us, we do have Matt Litzinger with us live in studio. He's got this great album, Keep It Burning, really, really good. Are you already working on the next one? So, whereas you record at home and you can kind of take your time with it, I would imagine you're already working on new stuff.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. I'm actually taking a little bit of not a break, but just scaling things back a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a lot of songs written for this project, and so I had the benefit of being able to pick just the ones I liked the best or that worked most cohesively for this theme.
Yeah.
And so I had some extra songs that I didn't do anything with yet. So those are kind of in the hopper. I played those live out, just trying to get feelers for how to fine tune them.
Right.
I have a tendency to write really long songs. So I'm always on the mission of figuring out how do I tighten this stuff up.
Yeah.
So one of those songs is 7 minutes long. And so it's okay, that's too long, even for a singer-songwriter ballad. So
Yeah.
trying to figure out how to tighten it up. But yeah, right now it's just kind of scaling back a little bit. Like I said, I have a young family, so and this isn't my full-time gig too. So just trying to figure out how do I keep this in its right place.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of time management skills that can go into that.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
I do. Yeah. Yeah. So I started writing songs in high school just as kind of a cathartic thing. And it was a just really bubblegum poppy love song called You and Me.
Yeah. Did it survive? Do you ever
It
play it?
did not survive. I don't know that I could even play it if I had to.
Really? Yeah.
I don't even think it got recorded. I think it just got played to the girlfriend at the time. And
Oh, okay. I don't remember who it was, but we had a guest on who really surprised me. They could remember the first song they wrote when they were 10 years old, and they still play it. It might have been Kenny Troon. And Kenny, if you're listening and I'm wrong, I apologize. But I feel like it was Kenny Troon. He said, yeah, I still play it. My first song. It's wow.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm always jealous of those guys.
Yeah.
That you can go back to your back catalog and still have just the muscle memory to pull it back out.
Right. Who, can you tell me about influences? In terms of songwriting, who influences you?
Yeah. So I like a lot of singer-songwriter stuff that has more of a Americana kind of rock background to it.
Yeah.
So modern influences would probably be Jason Isbell's a big one. Sturgill Simpson is probably a big one. Going back further, I love John Denver. I just keep coming back. He's just such a great songwriter.
Yeah.
My grandparents, my grandma in particular on my mom's side, really loved him. And so playing Country Roads is always a big favorite for me, or Leaving on a Jet Plane.
Yeah.
His stuff's great. I love coming back to his music.
Yeah. Well, what about in terms of your approach vocally? Is there anyone you've ever really? You have a unique voice. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who I feel like you sound like.
Yeah.
Exactly, but I don't know. I mean, is there anyone who's influenced you as far as your vocals?
I think a lot of people over time, and I get compared to some people. So Evan Stevens Hall from Pine Grove, they're a indie rock band. The guy from the Decemberists, who I'm blanking on his name right now.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but I know who you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, I think I pull from different things I hear in vocal performances, and I'm I like that. I want to try to emulate that a little bit, and then just still trying to figure out how do I do that and not make it sound like I'm trying to sound like that.
Right.
I have a certain signature to my voice, and I want to keep that.
Right.
It is, but
exactly.
It is interesting, listening back to material from 10 years ago to now. It's crazy how your voice changes over time, and that I even listen to other artists, that happens so much too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really interesting to see, and it's very much a subconscious thing because it's I didn't decide I'm gonna sit down and record this song so that it sounds like this.
Yeah, I've always been kind of fascinated by that with vocalists. How some people's voices do change over time as they get older. Their voice gets deeper, but some people, it seems like it. You hear something they record very. They might be a 60-year-old guy who sounds just like he did when he was 20, and it's or at least in the studio.
Yeah.
Maybe not live, but it's interesting how some people, their voice really changes and some doesn't. I imagine too, part of that comes from, you know, a lot of musicians, you know, drink and smoke, and that, you know, that'll change your voice certainly. But I think for a lot of people too, you know, their voices just kind of get deeper naturally as they get older. But yeah, some people just sound the same. It's weird. I think Billy Joel is an example of that. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
Like if you go on YouTube and you pull up a Billy Joel video of him performing live in recent years, he kind of sounds the same as he did when that first album came out. It's weird, but the time goes so fast. You want to play another one for us?
Sure.
I want to get at least one more live one in before we run out of time. If you are just joining us, Matt Litzinger is here with us live in studio. And I did confirm with him, I am saying his name right, because I wasn't sure if it was Litzinger or
everybody always asks.
It's
always short eyes. So.
Anybody ever get it wrong, like on a poster or something?
Sure. Not on a poster, but
that's
saying
good.
it out loud, people do quite a bit.
Yeah. Matt Litzinger is here with us in studio. What are you going to play for us?
Yeah, so this next one's called I Don't Know Much. It's on the record as well.
Okay.
It's a song. I have 2 young kids, and they ask a ton of questions.
Yeah.
And I've gone through this phase of, like, in my 20s, I felt like I had to have the answer to everything all the time. And in my 30s, I'm really kind of okay with it's okay to just say I don't know.
Right.
And I'm more and more aware of the sense, like, when people try to tell you they do have all the answers to everything, to be highly skeptical of that.
Yes.
And so this song's about just being able to go through life and being okay with not having the answer to everything.
Oh, I like it. All right.
It seems like this life is getting harder by the day. People trying to figure out how it got to be this way. 'Cause in this age of information, where facts seem so passé, I'm standing with my mouth agape, can't find the words to say. So I don't know much, and that's okay. I'm just hoping it's enough to get me through today. Some paths lead back where they began, going in circles, it can drive you mad. There's a few things I know for sure, the rest I'm still searching for. And the sun is gonna rise each day, and your love for me will never fade. Your love for me will never fade. I've got a few friends who have carried me on this road, and they couldn't give a rip about the stuff I think I know. 'Cause we're all just grown-up kids trying to figure this life out, and being honest about the madness helps clarify our doubts. I don't know much, and that's okay. I'm just hoping it's enough to get me through today. Some paths lead back where they began, going in circles, it can drive you mad. There's a few things I know for sure, the rest I'm still searching for. And the sun is gonna rise each day, and your love for me will never fade. Your love for me will never fade. I don't know much, and that's okay. I'm just hoping it's enough to get me through today. Some paths lead back where they began, going in circles, it can drive you mad. There's a few things I know for sure, and the rest I'm still searching for. The sun is gonna rise each day, and your love for me will never fade. Your love for me will never fade.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What a great song. If you're just joining us, Matt Litzinger is here with us live in studio. What's that one called again?
It's called I Don't Know Much.
I Don't Know Much. Great song. Great song. You're getting some love in the chat room, too. Tom Russo, who's been on the show a few times, very talented musician, says, sounds great. Nice lyrics, great voice, and song.
Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely. And by the way, Tom, I owe you an email, and I will get back to you, I promise. DJ Steve, also in the chat room, says, good morning, Matt and Jenny. I am really enjoying this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
DJ Steve. Let's see. Yes, we do have Matt Litzinger live in studio with us, and we've been he's been playing some songs from that one's on the album too, I assume, right?
Yep.
Let me for those watching online, the video component of the show. Let me hold this up again for everybody. This is the album, Keep It Burning, a full-length album from Matt Litzinger. This is all online too, right? People can get this online.
Yeah, all the streaming services.
Excellent. And what went into the decision to make physical copies too? Because not everyone does, although it seems like lately most of the guests that we have are doing CDs. There was a period of time where it seemed like no one was doing CDs, and then now everyone is, which is great to see. Some people are even releasing vinyl, but what went into the decision to release a physical copy?
Yeah, so part of it was I did a Kickstarter campaign, and so just having some type of physical reward for it felt important.
Yeah.
And people took me up on that quite a bit too. Just kind of have like a signed, even if it's just memorabilia and you never like open the cellophane to it. Like
right.
Just having that. People really like that. And at live shows too, like being able to go away, like I like this experience and I want to take something home with me from it.
Right.
I don't even know how many people really have CD players. Like my vehicle doesn't have a CD player in it.
Yeah.
My truck does. My old, it's like a 2006, but like my newer car doesn't have a CD player.
Right.
Yeah.
Way back when people were predicting the total death of CDs, I think what kind of kept CDs going was, to a large degree, just people still having CD players in their cars.
Yeah.
And of course, new cars now don't have them. But I think you're right too. People like having a physical copy. Especially if you're a big fan of somebody, and yeah, most of them probably, they may not ever open it. They just want to have it to support you and to support your work. And that's my theory with vinyl too, because I think even fewer people have record players. But vinyl is still, I think 2020, it was either 22 or 23 was the first year that vinyl had actually outsold CDs.
I saw a chart for that.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm convinced that most people who purchase vinyl never open it.
Mm-hmm.
They just, if you're really a fan of an artist, because, who has some people have record players, obviously, but I think most people, they purchase it and they don't open it. They just want to have it. And if you're really a big fan of somebody, it makes sense to do that, certainly.
For a part of it might be self-serving too, because like I've always liked listening to full records.
Yeah.
And like I think that just goes back to like it was your only way to listen to things before Spotify would recommend things after you listen to a track. And so I like sitting, especially from a songwriter perspective, how'd you sequence this? Like how do these songs tell a story together? I love that. And then being able to like look at the liner notes, especially, man, like we all miss out on that now. So.
Oh yeah. Especially when I was a kid, I used to love looking at liner notes when I'd get a new CD. And just seeing what information, pre-internet, just seeing what information I could glean from just from the liner notes, which usually wasn't much. But if I was a really big fan of somebody, just anybody, I could, who was the engineer on on this, just any little bit of information, but I'm a very curious person anyway. So anything I could learn from liner notes was great. Yeah. So that's excellent. Is this your first physical release, this disc?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this would be the first. I made some very homemade copies of early stuff, but this would be the first professional release.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. It's funny. Back when so there was a span of time when I first started interviewing musicians on radio shows and podcasts. There was a span of time where, like I said, nobody was really releasing CDs. But people would still people would actually give me music on their CD instead of doing it like now where you just email your music to somebody. People would actually give me music for the show on a CD that would not be professionally produced. And I couldn't even count the number of times someone would hand me a CD on their finger. You know what I mean?
No case.
That would happen a lot. And it was always like, really? This is how you're giving this to me? They'd write on it with a Sharpie what it was, and then hand, here's the CD for the, you need this for the show, right? It's like, yeah, thanks. We actually have a CD player here. I think Rob is. Yeah, Rob Azevedo from Granite State of Mind. I think he's the only one who actually uses it. I've never used it, but we do have a functioning CD player here. But no, I think it's cool that you're doing that. And I like, now you mentioned too, I think this was off air, you mentioned this, your wife is a graphic artist?
She is, yeah.
Did she do all the artwork?
So yeah, I had my friend who's a photographer, Rebecca Scatting, did all the photography inside and out. And then my wife did the layout and all the design work.
Okay, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. And you brought us a couple stickers too, which is good.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned your wife made those. Jenny loves stickers, as you can see from the back of her computer.
Stickers are the best. Yeah.
That's right. We have time. You want to play one more?
I'd love to. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. If you're just joining us, we have Matt Litzinger here with us live in studio. What are you going to play?
Yeah, so this is an older one. It's not on the album. It's called Time Turner. So there's an old family story of playing board games and somebody asking someone to turn that little sand timer. And it started this song idea in my head of like, man, time slips away. And we've got a lot of songs about that, but how do I write it from this like appealing to a higher power to say like, hey, can I just get a little bit more time? Can you slow this down a little bit? So this is a song about that.
All right.
Time turner, won't you turn the time a little more slowly? I've been wasting all my time today. Oh, please, won't you have just a little pity? 'Cause I could use a little time my way. Time turner, won't you lend me your ear for a moment so I can plead my case to you? Seems like I'm always running in circles. My burden's heavy and my moments are few. Time turner, won't you tell me when my time is over? Maybe I can still leave my mark. Greatest fear is wasting all my time before my life fades into dark. Time turner, won't you turn the time a little more slowly? I've been wasting all my time today.
I think that one's my favorite.
Oh, thank you.
Very relatable too. Very relatable. I love it. Matt Litzinger here with us, live in studio. That's when did you write that? That you said that one's an early one?
Yeah, that one's from probably back in 2012.
Okay. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. Very good. Have you ever recorded that one?
Yeah, it's on an EP called Up in the Woods EP. Yeah.
Okay. Outstanding. What do you have this weekend? Do you have any shows this weekend?
Nope. Next one I have is in December. I'm playing at Two Share.
Oh, very good.
The end of the month. I think it's the 27th.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm taking a little break.
During the winter, do you kind of hibernate a little bit too and focus on writing and recording, or do you still play?
Especially I try to do that February project where I do a songwriting project.
Oh, yeah.
February, because it's just the darkest, like depressing part of the year. It's like you might as well produce something out of it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I notice a lot of people kind of. Plus, going and playing shows in the winter is hard because you never know what the weather's going to do, and a lot of things get canceled.
It's very unpredictable up here.
It's cold and flu season. All of it. Yeah. Is summer kind of your busiest time as far as playing out?
Yeah, and it's just people seem to have fun playing in the summer too. They enjoy live music more, or at least it seems like it. So
yeah, absolutely. So while speaking of time, I'm thinking about closing the segment with This Year.
Yeah.
Another one of your great studio tracks that you sent us. So it seems appropriate since you just seems like it might relate in some way to the song you just played.
Yeah, for sure.
But what should people know about where to find you online, how to keep up with everything that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So I got a profile on Spotify, just Matt Litzinger, and then my website, mattlitzingermusic.com, is where I usually try to put everything. I'm redesigning it, so it should be redesigned in the next week or so. It's very, very close to being done.
Oh, cool.
I think the last time it was redone was 2010.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you do all that yourself?
I do, yeah. So that's, as my day job, I'm a web developer.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So we'll close out. Oh, you should spell your last name too.
Sure. Yeah. So last name, Litzinger.
That's actually, well, it's funny. It's obviously not a common last name, but it is spelled pretty much the way you would expect it to be, which is nice.
I think so.
People struggle with my last name all the time. Connarton is very unusual, and people misspell it. But
a lot of Matts, though.
A lot of Matts.
Yeah. Never been in a scenario where there's not another Matt.
Are there a lot of Litzingers?
I've met hardly any.
Yeah.
Which is funny because online I compete with 2 other Matt Litzingers. One's a realtor and one's in like creative ad buying space.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So like in terms of SEO value, there's some out there, but I've never met a lot in real life.
Yeah. Definitely a rare name. But that's good. A rare name, you have less chance of somebody popping up and saying, "Hey, I'm also a musician with this name, and I was doing it before you," and and everything that goes with that. So that's definitely an advantage. But we will close out with this great track. This is called "This Year" from Matt Litzinger. And Matt, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
You got it.
I'm looking ahead. Swept the monsters out from under my bed. I'm moving on from what might have been. I'm getting ready to shed this skin. All this time that I've wasted, it's given me a reason to say, this year I'm gonna do things different. I'm gonna see the hard things through. My gaze is set and I'm not gonna waver. I'll be standing here, it's true. I'm gonna try to do it better this year. Wait and see, I'll take you by surprise. This new me is more than just a guise. You told me once, give yourself some grace. You're not the sum of your mistakes. Each year's a brand new start. It's given me a reason to say, this year I'm gonna do things different. I'm gonna see the hard things through. My gaze is set and I'm not gonna waver. I'll be standing here, it's true. This year I'm done with the excuses that kept me shackled for too long. I reached a point where I was down for the count, but I live to see a new day dawn. I'm gonna try to do it better this year. This cold weather in store for the Northeast. I might not see the sun for a couple of weeks. Maybe I won't do all the things I set out to do, but I'll take a few steps and I'll grow a little too. 'Cause this year I'm gonna do things different. I'm gonna see the hard things through. My gaze is set and I'm not gonna waver. I'll be standing here, it's true. This year I'm done with the excuses that kept me shackled for too long. I reached a point where I was down for the count, but I live to see a new day dawn. I'm gonna try to do